David Jensen, co-founder, investor, and CEO of Culture Pulse.
Alex Beckman, co-founder, investor, and chief digital officer of Culture Pulse.
Adam Coward, chief co-founder and chief technology officer at Culture Pulse.
The inspiration for today was to celebrate the launch of Culture Pulse, very simply.
We were inspired to create Culture Pulse, I think, by a shared desire to make NFTs accessible. I think we all had been seeing a lot of our friends involved in the NFT space from different directions, and we had constant communication on the issue and decided to put this together in the way it's come out, making NFTs easily creatable by folks that want to create them and easily purchasable by people that want to purchase them, and trying to take out a lot of the mystery.
Where we make buying NFTs is so easy that my mom could do it.
We've got music, we've got sports, and we've got art upstairs in the gallery. What inspired us was we're all collectors. Collectors of music, collectors of sports memorabilia, collectors of art. And what we saw was this connection between our collecting passions and the way that we could then preserve those through an NFT.
And I think we started to see a lot of people ask us questions as, I guess, CEOs of other companies or investors, they would ask us, what are NFTs and how can they get involved? They've seen their colleagues or peers being, in the NFT space. And our answer was always more complex than I think they wanted to hear. And part of the genesis of this was we wanted to create a company that would be an easy way to answer that question, what is an NFT? You can now create authentically and allow somebody to collect authentically, and Culture Pulse is that answer. I've had about 100 athletes reach out today asking where this is, what we're doing, and almost all of them have asked, and will you tell me what an NFT is when I get there? And I think that this is being called a crypto bull, and that there's still such an uncertainty about what that all means. It's exciting as founders. I think that means that there's all this great momentum and very few answers yet. I think truly well composed, which is a huge space for us to operate. And the appetite is huge.
I have a number of NFTs. My favorite NFT is my Daniel Ashram crystallized Porsche. So it's a 9-hour continuous loop of a Porsche driving through a winter scene that starts to crystallize and break apart. And I'm a Porsche guy, so and it's a vintage, actually the same year as my '68. So yeah, I love it.
That's awesome. I'm eating our own dog food. My first NFT I bought this morning on Culture Pulse. And I'm living the dream here, getting to use my own site to buy.
Well, what was it? What did you buy?
I bought Mo Bamba's first jersey that he wore at Madison Square Garden. He's somebody that we've gotten to work with for a lot of years, big fan of his, and the story was meaningful. I think that's a neat part of this, is that we collect not just the signature, not just the item, but the NFT actually wraps up his story of what it meant to grow up in New York and play at Madison Square Garden for that first time. And to me, that's a moment that I now have in my life that I share with him thanks to this. So that's the one.
What about you?
I love that. So my favorite NFT is actually Just Lo's digital rookie card, because it's a tokenized fan community that basically gives holders access to unreleased music, a private Discord where he releases demos and things like this. And he's one of my favorite artists at the moment. So kind of deepening that connection and that relationship while he's still young and early in his career, I think is just a great experience. And I'm excited to watch as it grows, because imagine if Drake or Post Malone had put out a rookie card and there was only 100 copies and you got access to that creator. Access is one of the most fundamental pieces of value in our society today. And I think that these things will only grow.
We have 3 co-presenters here with Culture Pulse. Culture Pulse, and we're launching. And so in the house, in the main gallery and living space, are a series of creators that are ranges, as we've been talking about, from athletes, artists, and fine jewel makers, who all have both physical items and their equivalent NFTs on a monitor. In another room, in the second living room, we have our partners, NFT Carnival. And those are all artists that are making digital NFTs, and so they're all presenting their different projects. And then here, we're just sitting outside the guest house, and what we'll do is a VIP event at the end of the day. It's called Satoshi's Salon, and the idea is bringing a group of crypto whales to hear pitches from folks that are building NFT businesses.
We're sitting here in Prince's former Bel Air estate, and I think we're excited to have already, it seems like a very successful launch just from the orders already coming in, pre-announcements. And we'll have another 500 friends or so here to celebrate the launch of this and hopefully build a more equitable and accessible world for creators.
Well, my name is Akon, recording artist, philanthropist, businessman, and just a loving person. In the future, everything that I have coming out content-wise is all connected to NFT. It's all connected as an NFT. It's all built to be in the NFT networks. So that's the future of where I'm going musically. That's where I'm going either within real estate with Akon City. We're creating an Akonverse for the whole Akon City, which will all be NFT infused within the metaverse itself. So we're way ahead. We're just hoping that we're not too far ahead to be ahead of the curve to the point where people just don't get it yet. But we're trying to keep the pace according to the understandings of the minds of how people are, getting it and grabbing it at the moment. NFT and the concept of NFTs for music is going to be the future of where the business is going. For a long time, as a content creator, there's always been a lack of transparency as to the value of the content that we create. And I think NFTs is going to pretty much quantify that, with the audience in so many different ways. So as NFTs start to actually mature and people get a better understanding of it, I think the fullest value will go to the artist and the creator of the content itself. And it would also create that opportunity to be able to understand what your worth really is. Actually, a lot of the NFTs that's out now, I'm not a huge fan of them yet because they're still being developed. They look like Lego blocks to me. So I'm more of a entertaining, I like the sound of NFT albums, NFT music attached to beautiful artwork, and I like the combination of amazing artists around the globe that hasn't gotten full just due, and then connecting with artists like myself or other musicians to create these amazing sound, visual NFTs. I think that is really, and it's happening now. In the beginning when it first started, you see these little squares, and it was just like, cool, I get it, but it felt development. But now I'm seeing maturity, and I think that's the area that's exciting me right now. The first time I knew or heard anything about crypto was back in 2013, and it was introduced to me by a guy named Brock Pierce. So I was kind of one of the earlier, you can say, people that kind of knew about it and had to figure out what it was and what it will be for tomorrow and how can I be ahead of the curve. So it was something that of an interest for me back then. And I was just trying to figure out, okay, how will it impact, if it's gonna impact at all? And if it does, how can I be at the forefront of it? I'm so excited of just crypto, period. I believe it's the future of the globe. And I know that there's a lot of people that's still trying to understand what it is, but my whole thing is just involve yourself and understand as you go. Because if you wait, you're gonna be left behind.
My name is Jessica Stalker, and I'm a real estate agent in Beverly Hills. And I recently became a real estate agent in the metaverse. So I started in Decentraland, and I'm now creating a marketplace for real estate in the metaverse, kind of like Zillow for the digital world. What clicked for me is when bigger corporations like Adidas and Nike started buying storefronts and selling items in the metaverse. So we're no longer on a Web 2, we're on a 2D screen. When they bought a parcel of land, the avatars can now walk in and try on different outfits and purchase it that way. I thought, okay, there's definitely a lot of potential here, because not only is it a 2D screen, you're jumping into it, and when you can jump into something and host experiences, there's so much more capability, whether it's virtual concerts, virtual coffee with a friend. I think it's cool that there's some big heavy hitters that are coming together and hosting events like this and allowing for us to network and share ideas. I think it's a really exciting space with NFTs and decentralization, and the more that we learn from each other, the more that we can create and move forward in a positive way.
Hi, my name is Eric Benz. I think the approach has been absolutely incredible. This is exactly what we need for mainstream adoption to occur, to be bringing people together from various different industries. The wonderful thing about crypto, it's a nice sticky ecosystem, meaning that every other industry is able to glue on and figure out kind of, okay, well, how can I apply this to my business? Or how can I apply this to what I do in my daily life? And it's an exciting thing to witness in the environment here today. If you see it, I mean, it's incredible. It's awesome. I mean, there's so many celebrities and influencers and visionaries and thought leaders all in one environment, all for the benefit of crypto and NFTs. So I couldn't be happier. The maturation process for crypto has been amazing to see. And to be part of it from the early years and to see all the people, all the visionaries and all the thought leaders working together, striving to make things better, more efficient, more peer-to-peer. It's been such an incredible process to witness. And first they laughed, then they fought, and now they're part of the whole process, right? Like, this cycle is no different from any cycle before it. And the only thing about crypto is it accelerates things a lot quicker. And this cycle that we're seeing right now is only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, because there's no denying tooling that actually is going to change humankind and make the world a better place. So it's going to be a process, but over the past 10 years, we've seen an immense growth, and we're going to see an even more incredible adoption.
What made me excited is the whole NFT thing. I feel like it's the future. And one thing that I've learned from my past is if you don't change with the time, then you get left behind. And me being 30 years old, I feel like I'm at an age right now where I need to be making the best moves in my career. And I'm really interested in the NFT world. And I think a lot of my fans are going to finally get a chance to have a personal relationship with me through NFTs and make money with me, and not just have me make money off of them. And it's freedom. I think it's freedom for artists. And I remember at a time in music when Napster and all these things were happening, people were kind of scared and afraid of a shift, and we're shifting again to a new world, and either change with it or get left behind. And that's why I'm here. I heard about NFTs through my manager, and I just remember, I remember being on this app called Clubhouse, and all these people were talking about NFTs, and I had no idea what it was. And then for a week, I was doing my research and kind of went out of my way to really, I was afraid of getting left behind. I always have this FOMO. And I was like, I need to find out what it is. And once I saw how many artists that I never heard of make so much money, I said, damn, I'm not gonna have no problem. I never really cared too much about it until one day I needed money and I went to a bank account. I went to an ATM machine, and I looked and it said, would you like to get paid in crypto? And that's when I knew, step it up again. And I've been telling my team and my management, if people could pay me in crypto, I'd rather just take that, because as you guys know, one thing that I find to be so interesting, the last tour I did in Europe, I used to be able to tell exactly what city I was based on the fans and how they dressed. I can't do that anymore. I basically go to shows and sometimes I yell out the wrong city, because what the world's turned into is one world. It's becoming one world where the internet is the world. I don't need to be anywhere because I'm on the internet. That's where everyone is. I shot a video, which is so funny. I shot a video of Safety in 2019 where I was in a strip club that was an alien strip club. And I know I'm saying too much right now, but I'm just in the vibe. I had a stripper with 3 boobs. It was an alien, and I was literally paying her in the air like this. If you watch the video, because we paid $200,000 for that video, so go watch that. If you watch me, I'm doing this in the air, and I'm basically sending her crypto through the sky. You know what I mean? And I think that's what the future is. You're gonna be in strip clubs with aliens with 3 boobs, and you're gonna be doing this.
Hi, I'm Jared Silver. I'm the president of Steven Silver Fine Jewelry. We were the first jewelry store in the world to accept cryptocurrency, so we've been very relevant in the blockchain space for many years. Since 2014 is when we started accepting cryptocurrency. Hours and hours and hours have tried to find any relevance of other people or any evidence of other people trying to accept cryptocurrency, and I can't find another jewelry store that's done it since before us. So I claim that to be true. Our industry is very interesting, and because we specialize in one-off pieces. So the idea of like a non-fungible token to me has been relevant for long before NFTs even existed, because these specific items, like when we're buying important things, let's say that Cartier produced that was one of one from Art Deco period of 1929. Identifying and knowing the authenticity of that item is a key part of the identification process for us. And then now us in this modern era are manufacturing one-off important pieces of jewelry. So having a system in place that shows the authentication of this item and is able to trace that and can be handed from one owner to another, tracking provenance is extremely important in our industry. It comes down to how practical can it be in like the use case in real life. And that's why I think having unique one-off items like what Culture Pulse is doing is so relevant to a lot of my customers. Watches and jewelry they've always had certificate of authenticities or certificate of origin, right? And if a watch, for example, or a piece of jewelry is sold with that certificate of origin, they tend to hold their value a lot more. It's also important to prove who owns the piece and know that it's been handled throughout its life so far with care. So I guess within the NFT space, to me, the digitization of that process, even at the very lowest level, that's the low-hanging fruit. We brought 4 items, 2 pieces of jewelry and 2 watches. The first piece of jewelry is a beautiful diamond scarf. So it's actually 82 carats of diamonds. Each one is carefully wrapped in platinum, and so bezel set in platinum, and then it's woven together, so 650 individually wrapped diamonds in this platinum diamond scarf, which is absolutely stunning. And then the second piece is a rubellite ring that we made. So it has a beautiful rubellite, and it's rhodium plated, so it has this very like striking black and red look. It's one of our semi-precious, one of our rings from our semi-precious collection. But everything we do is one-off. So we don't do any mass production of pieces. Each piece is a unique item. So that's why Culture Pulse is very relevant to us in minting these NFTs. And then in the future, these pieces of jewelry will be converted into digital items as well that you can wear on your avatar in the metaverse.
My name is Lawyer Milloy, 15-year vet of the NFL. 1996 was my rookie year. 2010 was my last. I played for 7 years with New England Patriots. Won the first Super Bowl there, and then I went 3 years Buffalo Bills, 3 in Atlanta, my last 2 at home in Seattle. The younger athlete today has a better grasp on being an entrepreneur, controlling their likeness, whereas older guys like myself, we were just playing football. Now it's an opportunity with the NFTs and all that. As you go out there and you put your product on display, and you get better and you just build your brand. There's ways to capitalize off of that, and NFT is that new form, that new opportunity. Memorabilia, cars, all that, it gets traded. After we sign it, it gets traded so many times, right? And as we get better, a lot of times as when we die, all that appreciates. The problem with that is, as an athlete, when we sign that autograph, we might get paid that first time, and then it's over. Well, that jersey, that helmet that you signed or whatever, as it gets traded, is appreciating. People are making money off of that. Now with the NFT, we're able to get residuals off of that initial signing, and that makes me excited. Not only for myself, but for young athletes. We get a chance on Culture Pulse's platform, not only to own your likeness, control your likeness, get paid residual income on your likeness, but then you're a business owner also, right? We can teach you how to be a business owner on our platform. Sports teaches you a lot of attributes you need in order to go out there and survive in this world, right? How to work with others, how to always better your brand every time you step onto a field. All these things that you learn in sports, it translates when you go out there and you're in the business world.
the fact that we are here sitting in Los Angeles Super Bowl weekend, we wanted to leverage that because we do feel the world has changed, especially as we're coming out of the pandemic. Hence why we're at the Super Bowl of NFT excellence, right? That's what we're doing as Culture Pulse is launching here this weekend, the day before, the afternoon before the Super Bowl. We wanted to leverage that brand recognition, and the fact that we're entering a new generation. And what I would say, given the setting we're in, knowing unfortunately Prince isn't with us here, right, only in spirit, but he as a pioneering artist, I think he would have been all over NFTs if he was still alive.
Yeah.
And so for me, I feel like this was the appropriate venue for us to have this.
The Culture Pulse team has really gone above and beyond expectations on launching an incredible event. Doing it, especially in like the previous home of Prince, is I think quite suiting, given that he was an artist and everything he did was so unique. And if you think about just how collectible a lot of Prince memorabilia is, I think it's quite relevant to have it here in his home.
I'm lost for words. I'm so happy to be here, and I love Prince, and they chose the best location. And you know, I hate elevators. Prince hated elevators, and I love Prince so much, and I listened to him. And I was on a flight here, and I opened the window to my jet, and the sky was purple, and I thought he was smiling at me. And that was a man Prince was a man that stood by owning your music, and NFTs represents that. So the fact that they chose this location, whoever did that is a very brilliant man or woman.
Even just this event being held at Prince's old estate and house, this is something that he always navigated for. Like, one of his biggest fights was artists not getting their just due, right? And believe me, like, we always been kind of for the labels, but at the same time anti-label, right? We for the labels because they help us gain the ground of the globe when it comes to marketing, promoting, understanding who we are, and they gave us the machine to really spread our music. But then when it came to the business side of it, we always felt like we were being cheated, or somehow that they weren't being all the way transparent. And what NFTs does, it does both at the same time. It gives you the global reach, and it also gives you the transparency with the digital footprint of all your content as it exchanges into everyone's hands. So this is something I know for sure Prince would have loved to live to see happen in his day.